very close. Okay, but no choice, I guess. This is such a spontaneous thing, but I did promise some people that I would talk about this story, and I do want to just talk about it, even if no one's here. That's fine. Just talking about things that you think about sometimes really helps you to sort out your your thoughts, and it really hi what was I saying? Oh, just talking about the things you've been thinking about really helps you to uh, like put things in perspective. So this is the topic that I want to talk about today, which you guys probably already clicked on. Hi, 안녕하세요. Hi. So, uh, it's a bit dark, but you know what my room is like. So okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. First of all, there's got to be a little bit of an explanation. I live in a very multiracial country. Singapore is a very, very multiracial country, and we rarely have any sort of racial discrimination, to be honest. Like, um, open racial discrimination, I have to say. And we have multiracial day. Everybody, learns about each other's cultures. We wear each other's like traditional costumes, and everybody like has fun and takes pictures and stuff like that. So, um, like I want you to remember that as I tell this story about how like it took me quite a while to realize that my ex-boyfriend was racist. So, and it really made me think a lot about this because like since we all have the recent Black Lives Matter movement, and how things are right now, a lot of speaking up and fighting for the rights of Black people, I guess mainly in America right now, but hopefully all over the world. um, yes, so I want to talk about like this story that I experienced with my ex-boyfriend last year in October. Ex-boyfriend. And just it was last year in October. We were in New York, and I had to go like get shoes because mine were literally falling apart as we were walking. So I looked up the nearest like outlet shoe store, and it was in this place called Jamaica Boulevard. Like it's literally called Jamaica in New York. And so I convinced him to drive us there so that I could go buy shoes at a cheap place. And as we were driving through the neighborhood, he started expressing how uncomfortable he was. And okay, so bear in mind my ex is white, very white, you know, lives in the a racist state. Like, okay, if you're from New Hampshire, I apologize in advance if you're offended, but if you actually live there, you should know that it's largely such a racist state. Like, I have been on so much receiving end of racism every time I'm there in New Hampshire, in that neighborhood in the US. So anyway, so we were driving through this neighborhood, and my ex started expressing a lot of discomfort. And I was like, why? Why? What is wrong with driving through this neighborhood? And he was like, it doesn't look safe. And he was like, my car is gonna get jacked. He kept saying that my car is gonna get jacked. And I started noticing that he was kind of talking about how it was like a largely black people. And then I started looking around and noticing that yes, it's like you couldn't see any white people around. And then I was like, okay, it's a black neighborhood, but I was like, why do you keep saying your car's gonna get jacked? And I said, they are, I really couldn't understand why he thought that immediately. And to me, it was offensive. Like, why do you automatically assume that if you're in a neighborhood full of like black people, your car is gonna get jacked? Okay, let's say even that was like statistically supported in some way. But the thing is, people live, there's cars around us, they've got their own cars, there are legit stores. It's not like a chaotic, it was a perfectly fine, normal neighborhood. And it was like in the afternoon, people were just walking around or buying lunch. And so he kept saying, like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to park here. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And he was like, no, we're going to go into the city and then you get your shoes from there. But I'm like, no, I want to buy my shoes here because it's like, it's supposed to be an outlet store and it's supposed to be cheaper. And I'm like, I can't afford to buy shoes in New York City downtown. And then he was like, I don't care. I don't want to park here. It's dangerous. You know, like my mom will never. He said something about how. He said something about his mom, and I can't remember exactly what he said. But it made me think, like, that's probably where he's getting this sort of, like, racist attitude from. Wait, are you guys here? Like, is there something wrong with the feed because nobody's talking? So I'm a little bit worried. A little bit worried. Are you okay? Are you listening to the story? Like, are you guys here? It disconnected for a little while. Hi? Hello? Okay. Alright. So I'm gonna continue. And then he said something about how like he's an only child and like his mom would worry or things like that. And so I was thinking, I think he gets his racist attitude, or the thing is, at that point in time, I didn't blatantly think in my mind, oh my god, you're so racist. At first, at that time, I just couldn't understand why he was thinking like that. And it didn't register to me like racism immediately. You know what I mean? Because like like I said, I live in a country where it's all like it's very multiracial, but you know, it's all like pretty much good and fair and yeah. And so it didn't register to me straight away. And like I I'm really enjoying right now how educational this whole like Black Lives Matter movement is, because it's really like, you know, making people think about things and making people realize a lot of things. And even like for me, something that happened in October last year, now that I think back on it, how racist was he to just immediately assume that his car was going to get jacked if he parks in a like predominantly black neighborhood, you know? And he kept saying like, you know, it was a nice car, but I'm like, okay, people here have nice cars. And yeah, I'm feeling so offended right now just thinking about it and talking about it. And you know, we had already driven there, but then he refused to stop anywhere. And later, to prove my point that it was not a dangerous neighborhood, I went there by myself. I I don't live in the States. I'm scared to take public transportation. And like New York is a very foreign, strange city to me because it's so busy and it's so like chaotic to me. So I was kind of scared to go around by myself, but I walked. I went to that neighborhood and I walked through there and I texted him. I said, nothing happened to me. You know, like I'm not a white person or whatever, or maybe like maybe my experience might not have been the same as his, but like I wanted to prove my point that it wasn't a dangerous neighborhood, you know. And I just thought, wow, it's terrible. and and then I started thinking back on it more today, like when I used to visit him in New Hampshire when we were actually dating. People would glare at me, like, and then they would say things like they would hint something, they would say veiled insults, like how dare you date one of our white boys? Because I'm clearly not white. People in the States have either, clearly labeled me as Asian, or they have mistaken me for Hispanic. But either way, people who are racist, they're gonna be racist to the minorities. So they gave me a lot of how dare you date one of our white boy glares. And when I talked to my ex about it, he was like, he just shrugged it off. He was like, that's just the way it is here. And back then, I was like, okay, I just okayed it and accepted it. You know, I accepted it as like, okay, that was the way that it was there. And I didn't think like I could do anything about it. And I'm so disappointed in myself that I didn't question why he defended me. I should have. I should have. At the time, I should have asked him, why didn't you say something in my defense? Or, like, if you see people, like, glaring at me like that, like, why don't you do something? I never thought about that, you know? I guess when I was dating him, I was not in a good place anyway, so it was probably not at a stage where I loved myself a lot. So I probably let a lot of this slide, I guess, because I was just like, okay, I have a boyfriend, that's great. But yeah, it made me think a lot about how things were back then and how fucked up it was, and how I just I never really thought about it, even though I was on the receiving end of some of it. But the New York trip, I mean, by then he was already my ex. Like, we broke up a long time ago. But then, because I visited some friends in New York, like, we decided to, like, see each other because we haven't seen each other for so long. Maintained, like, a sort of friendship. It was a hi bye, sort of thing, how you doing, every once in a while. And he doesn't live that far from New York, so we decided to meet up. And I didn't think that it would be like that. And finally, when we were not in his environment, I could see how, like, he reacted to people. Like, because, his environment is very white all the time. And his mom was also super fucking racist. When she first met me, she kept hinting at how, okay, like, I'm dating her son because I was some kind of gold digger. And, like, okay, first of all, honey, your son works for fucking Best Buy. It's just an electronics store, and he works as, like, some salesperson at an electronics store, okay? The one who spent like $2,000 to fly over and see your fucking son and spend money in a hotel room and everything was me. What do you mean, gold digger? I make twice what your son makes. So I don't fucking understand, like, the immediate assumption that just because I'm dating her son, who, by the way, didn't even graduate college, so you shouldn't fucking treat him like he's some kind of motherfucking treasure next to me. You didn't even ask my qualifications. You didn't know nothing about me. But when he introduced you to me, you immediately assumed I must be there for his money. What? Money? Oh my god, I was so pissed. Really fucking pissed. In the state of New Hampshire, everywhere I went, I was the best dressed person. I'm not a jeans and t-shirt type of person. If you guys follow me on my social media, especially my Instagram, I'm well dressed all the time. I dress for the person I want to be. So I'm well dressed. I'm more well dressed than her son is at all times. So how dare you assume that just because I'm a fucking blonde, blue-eyed girl, I must be dating your son for the money? Like, what a fucking joke. Seriously. So, yeah. So, it was really, really an experience. dating him. It didn't last long, obviously. Because now that I think back on it, oh my god, how did I put up with that? How did I put up with that? I must have been so broken in some way. Actually, at that time, I was broken. I was in a very bad relationship, and I used this relationship to get out of that relationship. I went from one guy to another, and neither were good for me, but one was slightly better, and so I went there. But when I left, totally, completely, that was like an amazing decision, because then I started to heal by myself. And that, yeah, that was like a journey to like helping myself and loving myself and all that sort of thing. But at that time, I didn't realize how much, how terrible it was and how racist him and his whole family was. That's just, wow, seriously. So it was really fucked up. So, I mean, um, it's not, how did you end up with someone like that? Yeah, that was my explanation. I was in a bad relationship at the time, and I went from that, the super bad relationship, into another bad relationship. It was slightly better. He treated me well, parents not counted, and he did make me feel a lot better, and he made me feel loved, and he did, I have to give him credit, he helped me to feel a lot better about myself. um let's not talk about his mom, but he helped me feel a lot better about myself. So I have to give him some credit about that. It's just that he's not the type of person, I guess, to defend a girl. Do you really want to date a guy like that? Sure, I can defend myself, but it would be nice to have someone, want to jump in and help and defend me or whatever. He sat there and let his mom say all those things about me, and I had to defend myself, which is really shitty. I don't know if you guys have experienced this sort of thing, but I mean, like, I don't want to take away from the Black Lives Matter, like, movement. I just wanted to add to the experience is that, like, this whole movement made me realize, like, just how big racism is in the US. And it surprised even me that I actually was, like, on the receiving end of, quite, like, a bit of it when I was there. So, yeah. So, like, just racism is so big. So big there. And I am sorry for the people who, like, have to put up with it every fucking day. I didn't put up with it every fucking day, and yet it makes me so angry just to think about it now and, like, remember how badly I was treated in those moments. It's super fucked up. Really, really fucked up. So, um, like, I will say that if you, wow, why would Uber drivers refuse you or cancel when that's illegal? That's not allowed. You're not supposed to be able to do that. Anyway, yes. So I actually, like I said, I don't want to take away from, like, um a person, like, is it correct to even say a black person? Is, I don't want to take away from, like, a black person's daily experiences. I just want to add on to the story and say that, this movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, has helped, I guess, so many people realize that racism is so real, like, just racism itself, and I really hope that something gets done about this, because oh my god, I really, this whole thing has made me think about it. Like, wow, it's so terrible. Wow, it's so terrible over there. And I talked to Hanju about it today, and she said in Canada it's pretty bad also. Hi. The problem with racism is that it can be subtle. Exactly. Exactly. That is a point I thought about earlier today. Thank you for that. That is a great reminder of what I wanted to say. Something I realized also. Like, um, at first, I was trying to think, like, how come I don't catch how racist he is? Like, why didn't I notice? And then it troubled me because I'm like, I know how terrible it feels to be on the receiving end of racism. So why didn't I see what I see it for what it was earlier? That their attitude towards me was racist. Why didn't I see it? And it's because I think that, to me, in some aspect of it, I always thought racism had to be like direct insults, or I always thought that, racism had to be like, just like blatantly showing, like even on your face or in your tone of voice or everything, that you're like disgusted by a certain race or a certain type of people. And I always thought that it had to be obvious. But you're right. Like, racism can be so subtle that it makes you think like, oh, okay, maybe that was okay. And then you let it go, and then it happens again and again and again. And that's when it escalates, in something that you don't want it to be. So yeah, I was thinking about this earlier. Exactly that. Like, how did I let it go so many times? Because it just happened just a little bit, but it happened a lot of times over time. I dated the guy for like a year. So yeah. So I thought about it, and I don't know, I hope he doesn't like see this live or anything, but I don't think he will. It was really eye-opening recently because I really thought about it. I I I'm glad that I'm the type of person that goes back and thinks about, like, reflects on things that have happened and try to find out why they happened. And so recently I thought about this. And the mom thing, I just remembered that. Like, how awful I felt when she thought immediately that I'm some kind of gold digger just because I'm not from the US and I'm from an Asian country, and therefore I must be some kind of gold digger. Like, please. America's not a rich country. Not at all. America owes a lot of countries money. America owes my country money in the billions, trillions. So it's like, I don't understand where this gold digger Asian countries right now are doing. No, I shouldn't say that. Asian countries are doing well. My country's doing well. I can say that for sure. My country's doing stable and well. And we're a cute tiny island and we're doing okay. You know? Yeah. So I can't say for all Asian countries. I can say for my country. Singapore. Singapore is good. Okay, somebody said, it sucks, but I am so happy you got out of that relationship. Thank you. It was a long time ago. And I'm glad that we live far away from each other, so the distance helped in breaking us up, but I've been really happy ever since. No man, no problem. For now. Okay. Alright. So that was the racism story. I'm so glad I got that out. I've told plenty of racism stories in my lives. But I don't think I've told much the racism that I've experienced in the US. It's usually the racism that I experienced in Korea. That's a different type of racism, I guess. That type of racism it stems from, I mean, not saying that it's right, but it helps to understand what causes it. Not so you can say, okay, then I understand, but so that you can eradicate the cause so that you can get rid of what causes it and fix it. And it takes a lot of time to fix it, but I think largely Korea is getting less and less racist. Can't say the same for the US. Racism has tripled. One of my friends who lives in Idaho, she's Chinese, she's from Singapore, and she moved there, and she married someone there, and she, I think someone threw something at her, like after Trump became president, and then he was like, I guess he was leading by example by being racist towards Asians. At at that point in time, I think this was a few years back, like the amount of racism towards any minority escalated, and there were like, there was this like old lady who got a rock thrown at her head, and my friend received like open racism, like, the sort of thing where it's like, go back to your own country and whatever. So it's fucked up. When you have a leader that is fucked up, how do you expect your followers to behave? It's the same. Like, usually parents are pretty fucked up, then the kids get fucked up too. So yes, yeah, unfortunately. Ah, I don't know what to make of this. Like, I wish I had a solution to what I said. And I know people say, like, you should talk to these people. I don't know how to talk to this person. Like, he's my ex. We don't really talk anymore. I don't really want to talk to him anymore. So this is just something I can't give a solution to, unfortunately. I was also just talking to some people the other day on my Instagram. I was talking about how I rarely log into Facebook, but I went in a couple of days ago, and there was this guy. He lives in New Orleans, and he keeps talking about how the hashtag Black Lives Matter is really stupid. And so I went to click on his comment, and because it had a lot of comments, so I was expecting to see like people correcting him or like educating him on why it's important, you know, to talk about this, to talk about racism, and to support like the hashtag. But instead, I found a whole bunch of people supporting what he said. And then so I looked at each picture, and every single person was white and blonde, and they actually had, some of them had a profile picture where they photoshopped Trump and a picture of the American flag. I don't know if it's like a frame for your Facebook profile picture, or they literally photoshopped it themselves onto their profile picture. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, wow. So not only are they super racist, they're Trump supporters. So I'm like, wow. I guess that's not a surprise at all. And then I was going to unfollow this person. I decided not to, because it's like watching a train wreck. And also sometimes you have to keep your enemies close so you can see how stupid they are and be thankful that you are not that dumb or racist and that you are a better person. So if you're feeling down, just look at these people and think, okay, I'm not that bad. I'm pretty good, in fact. I'm not a racist and I don't support Trump. I'm okay. I'm doing great in life. So I think I'm not gonna unfollow him for this purpose, just to see what kind of other crap he spews. And I'm so disappointed because, I think I've been Facebook friends with him a long time. We met over like a Scrabble game app online thingy, and I thought, hey, what a great opponent. What a formidable opponent, because like we had really close games, and I found that really fun. So we became Facebook friends. but we never really talked. And so you see the kind of people that actually, oh my god, you thought they were nice, you thought they were great at Scrabble, but they turn out to be a racist Trump supporter. So disappointing. So yeah, I guess, I'm not gonna unfollow. Just gonna like see how it unfolds. I hope karma slaps him in the face. I'm just really, yeah, I'm disappointed because I thought he was a nice old man. And I didn't know that he would be like this. It's a sad realization when you realize just how many racist people you've had around you. Wow. Seriously. I think when people mistake me for a different race, that's not racism. I think that's common. Cuz sometimes I get it. Like sometimes I don't look exactly how a typical Asian looks. I don't know what a typical Asian looks like, but apparently people have a stereotype of what Asian people look like. So, yeah, like when I was in California, I got mistaken for like Hispanic all the time. It's nice. So if I wanted, if I could blend in if I wanted. I'm working on my Spanish. Yes. Oh, okay. But that is another topic for another day. I think that's it for my racism story. That's all I had for you. A racist ex-boyfriend and his super racist mom. His dad equally racist, I guess. Thanks. I actually never thought I did until it kept happening, because I used to go to I lived in California for a bit, and I used to go back every year, and it kept happening. Like people would talk to me in Spanish, and then I'm like, no, I don't know Spanish, and yeah. And then one time I was stuck in Texas in the immigration office, and they stuck me with like in a room full of other, I'm assuming Mexican or Hispanic people, and then they asked me all kinds of things in Spanish. I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. Working on it? No, I'm working on learning Spanish because I took it a long time ago when I was in school, and I really enjoyed speaking it. So that's what I'm working on. Not really much, just sometimes on the side. Pretty sure I still have all my notebooks. I understood like 2 words out of that. Let me see. Did you say I speak Spanish too? I guess. I understand Spanish too. Is that what you said? I am learning. I am learning Spanish too. Okay, see? I don't even know that much. I'm working on it. I took Spanish in school like a million years ago for like a semester. I think all I did mainly was like look forward to the food, like end of the semester presentations. That's all I remember from my Spanish class. Is I made a huge flan and it was delicious and everybody loved it, and that is all that I remember about my Spanish class. And we sang songs about like how I like you. So, and then lately I'm watching like a Spanish drama, Mexican drama. I love that. So yes. Okay, so yeah, I can make flan. I'm almost there. I just need to stand around with flan, not say, I don't need to open my mouth, not say a single word. People will just assume. Yeah. Oh fuck, I have such a huge headache right now. Which one? Uh, it's on Netflix. It's called House of Flowers. Casa de las Flores. I think that's what it's called. Where's my water? Okay. Alright, you guys, I don't want to make this a super long live, but I'm so happy that you're here and we're talking and you heard my story. And so, any last words on that you want to add on to the topic? Cause then we'll be done. I actually have like a massive headache right now. And yes, it's past midnight, so I'm kind of beat. So, any last words on the topic? I would love to hear your input, or even if you have experiences, like experience some racism, I would love to hear about that. You can type away while I look for my water, which I know I brought into my room with me. I just don't know where it is right now. Almost. I see it. I see my water. I'm gonna reach for it. Okay, I found it. Okay, nobody's got anything else to say? Like last things? Alrighty then. Thanks for joining, you guys. Oh, somebody did say something. Many people think I'm not black because my skin is light. Um, my mom makes comments about black people too, but not bad. Good things. She'll be like, I think yesterday we were watching some dance competition, like a dance movie on TV, and she was like, all these white people think that they can go up against the other team. The other team, no one can beat the black people at dance. She said something like that. I think it was like a dance competition type movie. It was Step Up. Yeah, that's it. She was like, how are they gonna beat that team? They got black people. I thought that was kind of cute. Okay. Thank you for sharing, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh no, that is very ignorant. Oh my goodness. What, Muslim people can't graduate? So many people have had racist experiences that it's just scary at this point. I know, right? Wow. I'm glad you got angry and spoke up. Someone has to. Just all you have to do is just say it even once. And that helps. That helps a lot. Maybe it'll make that person just think. All you have to do is just say it once, you know? Oh. Okay. I don't think it has to be about your color, I guess. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, the racist experience came from the person who has the same color as you? Yeah. Sure. What you mean by that. I mean, because to say it as like it's a color issue is so black and white when it actually isn't like that. I would think it's it's gone beyond that now. Like like it shouldn't be simplified to a color issue is what I think. Like don't get me wrong. I don't know if I'm expressing myself well about this. I don't want to say anything wrong. Okay. Anyway, yeah, a lot of people have already wished me good night, so I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. It was so nice talking to you guys, and I will be back again soon to just talk. We'll talk about something happy next time. Okay? So, good night and have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you in the next video.